Hey everybody, it's Kay. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are staying hydrated. I mean, it is so hot. What in the heat miser is going on? I mean, really. But seriously, let's check on our elderly. Let's make sure they have air conditioning, that they have water, that they have fans in the house, something. We need to take care of that community and make sure that they're well in all of this heat. Um, Tonight, I hope to sit and read. Now, last night, I treated myself. I went to the movies. It was good to get out of the house. I've been sick. I had strep throat. I could barely even talk last week. My throat was killing me. Then earlier this week, I sounded like Barry White. So I'm just glad to have my voice back today. Still coughing a little bit, but I excuse me, excuse me. But yeah, I feel so much better. So I went to the movies last night, got back, and my mom was babysitting my grandson, and so of course Grandma had to take over duties because Great Grandma said, "Oh, so you here? I'm leaving." And so I had the baby and hung out with him. And then my son and his family, they just came over again, and he was like, "Well, we can leave the baby here for a little while." I was like, Didn't I just have him last night?" I love my grandson, but Grandma wanted some time to herself to sit and read. So I hope to read this book, Final Girls by Riley Sager, and really make some headway on this book tonight. It's about three women who are the last women standing of their respective groups who are attacked by a serial killer. So they don't really know one another, although they know of each other. One of the women ends up dead. No spoilers, it's in the jacket cover, okay? So nobody say, oh, you told too much. One of the women ends up dead, and then the other two bond. They come together and they bond. And that's as much as I'm going to say, so no one will say that I gave spoilers. And as a matter of fact, I haven't even read it, so I can't even tell you a whole lot anyway. That's what I plan to do tonight. I went to the bookstore today to pick up some books from my book club, for my book club. Now, of the four books that we have coming up, I've already read two of them, which brings me to ask you this question for those of you who are in a book club. If you've already read a book that pops up on your book club reading list, what do you do? Do you read the book again, prologue to epilogue? Or do you wait until like 2 or 3 days before the meeting and do a quick skim through? I'm curious as to what you do. Now, for me, it depends on the book and how long ago I read it. For example, we recently read Mama's Boy by Rashonda Tate Billingsley. I had already read it, so I did skim through 2 or 3 days before the discussion just to read from it. No, that's the wrong book. It wasn't Mama's Boy. It was What's Done in the Dark. What's Done in the Dark by Rashonda Tate Billingsley. So I'd already read it, so I just did a quick skim through before the meeting to refresh myself on the events and the characters, that kind of thing. Now, back when they said, we're going to read Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, of course, I read the book again. I love the book, so I'm like, okay, this is my third time reading the book, but I didn't mind. Um, what was the other one? Jubilee by Margaret Walker. I didn't mind reading that one again. It just really depends. So, two of these books, as I said, I've already read, and I'm debating, am I going to read them again? The first one is Blood Doesn't Sign My Name by Timothy B. Tyson. I not only read the book, but I saw the movie. A friend of mine was actually an extra in the movie. So, I mean, I'm debating. It was early 2000s, so I might read the book again. I don't know. I already know the story, but in case you don't, this is about a family who lives in a southern town called Oxford, North Carolina, and it's in the 1970s. And a black man is killed in public as he pleaded for his life. That event, of course, triggers a lot of different things to happen in the city. Excuse me. And so, the Klan is involved, you got the church involved, and, so I just don't know if I want to read this book again cover to cover, if I'm just going to skim it. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. The second book that I've already read that's popped up on our list is the Book of Uwe. Now, a few videos back, I called it the Book of Ove because I didn't know any better. I didn't know how to pronounce it. While that book was good, I just read it a few months ago. So I really don't necessarily want to read it again. And I'm debating if I'm going to do a skim through or if I'm actually going to read it. I don't know. This one I have not read. It is The Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. So I got a good deal on that one. That one was only $4 at Second and Charles. This one was $4.50 at Second and Charles. So I'm looking forward to reading Parable of the Sower. When unintended environmental and economic crises lead to social chaos, not even gated communities are safe. In a night of fire and death, Lauren Alamina, a minister's young daughter, loses her family and home and ventures out into the unprotected American landscape. But what begins as a flight for survival soon leads to something much more, a startling vision of human destiny and the birth of a new faith. So that is Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. And then I have not read this one, The Color of Water by James McBride, a black man's tribute to his white mother. That one was only $4.50. Then what I call a bonus buy today was, this book is not on my book club list, but I saw it and I had to get it because it is by the marvelous J. California Cooper, Some People, Some Other Place, and it was $6.85 at Second and Charles. Other books that I finished Copycat by Kimberly Lawson Roby. And I will say that I've read a lot of her work, and this one I was disappointed in. It was a thriller. It was a novella. It wasn't that long. But what bothered me about the book, it was about a famous author who meets a woman who is a fan, and the fan becomes the copycat of the author. You know, there have been other books like this before, but this one was just, it it wrapped up too quickly at the end. Everything had a nice, everything was tied up with a big red bow at the end, and it just came together too quickly for me. Maybe if it had been a full novel, 350, 380 pages, and she could have added a lot more to it, it would have been better, but this one just fell flat for me. It just did. I also finished The 16th Seduction by James Patterson and Maxine Petro, part of the Women's Murder Club series. Not getting into details, everybody knows the series and what his books are about. And then finally, there was, what's the book? Since We Fell by Dennis Lehane. That book had so much backstory in the beginning that I almost didn't finish it. I listened to it on audio, and it really didn't get good to me until about the end of disc 5, beginning of disc 6 is when it kind of took a turn for me and started getting better, and I really wanted to know what was going to happen in the end. He reminded me a lot of Jodi Picoult in this case, where there's so much backstory, it takes away from the suspense, the mystery, and thrill of it all. It's about a woman named Rachel who, at the beginning, is doing a lot of self-reflection and reflecting on her relationship with her mom, especially because her mother has passed away and she doesn't know who her father is. Her mother never really told her who he was. And so Rachel sets out on a quest to identify her father. And in that quest, or during that quest, she meets a man named Brian, and they become friends. They have kind of a touch-and-go relationship for about a decade. Then they hook up, they become really good friends, fall in love, get married, and that's when the story kind of picks up and moves into the suspense mystery phase of the book. The first part is just a lot of backstory, as I said, but you have to know her background in order to understand the decisions that she makes later. Excuse me. But there's so much of it. It's like I read two different books. Is how I felt about it. Would I ever read another Dennis Lehane? Maybe. I enjoyed the movie Mystic River. This book, as drawn out as it was, the writing was good, the character development was great. It was just too drawn out, and then the ending wasn't satisfactory to me. But, I'm willing to give him another chance with another book, just to see, Nora Roberts, I love her J.D. Robb series, but I wasted too much of my life trying to finish Come Sundown. I got halfway through the book and realized I'm not going to finish it. And I wasted so much time trying to get through that book that I did not even get to really start Woman Number 17. I had to take it back to the library because it was due. Someone had it on reserve, so I couldn't renew it. Wasted so much time on that Come Sundown book. And then another book I wasted time on was Rise the Dark by, I think his name was Michael Portia. Maybe it was just this particular book, but halfway through, I DNF'd it. And then there are other books I checked out from the library that I started and didn't finish that I don't even remember the names of them. I can't even tell you. So I have just decided 50, 75 pages. If the book doesn't have my attention, I'm not going to finish. I'm tired of wasting my time on books that just don't capture my attention. But at the same time, I'm trying to familiarize myself with new authors and not just read the same people over and over and over again. So, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it all out. Trying to do that. But anyway, that's my rant for the day. But yeah, answer the question for me. If you're in a book club and a book pops up on the list that you've already read, do you reread it again, cover to cover, or do you do that 2 or 3 days skim through? Just let me know what you do. Let me know. I'm curious. Have a good one, everybody. Stay hydrated. Stay cool. Bye-bye.